Hello everyone, what's up? Welcome to the GMB channel. Hope you will enjoy our video. Before we begin, hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Here's the news title. Chagos deal chaos as MP claims China could build base on Diego Garcia. The current deal involves Britain paying Mauritius $90 million a year for 99 years to maintain control of the U.S. military base on Diego Garcia. The Chagos Islands deal has been hailed as necessary to avoid a significant conflict with one of Britain's adversaries. Stephen Doughty, Minister for the British Overseas Territories, said Russia or China could build a spy base on the largest island of Diego Garcia, near the existing U.S. military base, if the archipelago isn't given to Mauritius. He wrote in The Times, "If you value UK national security and that of our allies, you should support this deal." The MP for Cardiff South and Penarth compared a possible serious confrontation to that of the Cuban Missile Crisis involving the US and Soviet Union. He warned that China or Russia could exploit an advisory opinion by the International Court of Justice, ICJ, which decreed that Britain had no sovereignty over the islands. The current deal involves Britain paying Mauritius $90 million a year for 99 years to maintain control of the Diego Garcia military base. It also prevents Mauritius from renting the nearby islands of Paros Banhos, Danger Island, and the Egmont Islands. Mr. Doughty warned that if the deal does not go through, the country's adversaries will establish outposts on these outer islands, as Britain would have no legal standing to remove them. He wrote, "If we don't pay, someone else will. Our adversaries would jump at the chance to establish outposts on the outer islands. With a guise of legality on their side, we would have no basis to remove them, and efforts to do so could spark a serious confrontation." Mr. Doughty also argued that the Chagos deal would solidify the special relationship between the UK and the US and ensure peace in the Indo-Pacific region. He added, "The British Indian Ocean Territory deal is rooted in a rational and hard-headed determination to protect UK national security. This deal will protect the base on Diego Garcia and cement the UK and US presence in the Indo-Pacific for generations to come." He also warned of further repercussions of not passing the deal, as Mauritius could seek to implement legally binding legislation stopping Britain from patrolling the waters around the islands. He concluded, "Without a deal, we would face serious, real-world operational impacts on the base. It would erode our ability to operate key frequencies, vital for our own communication and to counter hostile states, and affect everything from overflight clearances to securing contractors with consequential rocketing costs, declining investment, and a degraded chaos." Facility. MP warns, China could build base on Diego Garcia. The Chagos Islands deal has sparked intense debate as UK MP Stephen Doughty raises concerns over potential national security threats. The deal, which involves Britain paying Mauritius $90 million annually for 99 years, ensures that the US maintains control of its strategic military base on Diego Garcia. However, failure to finalize the agreement could open the door for China or Russia to establish a presence in the region, according to Doughty. A strategic necessity. Doughty, who serves as Minister for British Overseas Territories, emphasized that securing control over Diego Garcia is crucial for UK and US national security. Writing in The Times, he warned that adversaries could take advantage of an advisory opinion by the International Court of Justice, ICJ, which declared Britain had no sovereignty over the islands. This ruling, he argues, could provide China and Russia with an opportunity to establish a spy base on the archipelago. "If you value UK national security and that of our allies, you should support this deal," Doughty stated. Comparing the potential crisis to the Cuban Missile Crisis, he highlighted the grave consequences of allowing a foreign adversary to gain a foothold in the region. The U.S. military base on Diego Garcia has played a vital role in global security operations, including intelligence gathering and strategic deterrence, threats of Chinese and Russian presence. The Chagos Archipelago, particularly Diego Garcia, is a pivotal asset in the Indo-Pacific region. The concern is that without British control, Mauritius could lease parts of the islands to China or Russia, facilitating intelligence operations against Western nations. Under the current deal, Mauritius is prohibited from renting the surrounding islands of Peros Banhos, Danger Island, and the Egmont Islands to foreign powers. This clause is seen as critical in preventing adversaries from setting up military installations. Dowdy outlined the potential risks of losing control over these islands. Adversaries. Establishing outposts. If the UK does not maintain sovereignty, China or Russia could legally occupy the outer islands and establish military bases. Loss of strategic control. The UK and US would lose key intelligence and communication advantages in the region. Escalation of conflict. Any attempt to remove foreign forces from these islands could result in a major military confrontation, further destabilizing international relations. If we don't pay, someone else will. Our adversaries would jump at the chance to establish outposts on the outer islands, Dowdy warned. Solidifying the UK-US special relationship. Dowdy underscored that approving the deal would reinforce the UK's long-standing alliance with the US. By securing Diego Garcia, both nations can continue their strategic military presence in the Indo-Pacific region, countering threats from hostile nations. The British Indian Ocean Territory deal is rooted in a rational and hard-headed determination to protect UK national security, he wrote. This deal will protect the base on Diego Garcia and cement the UK and US presence in the Indo-Pacific for generations to come. Legal and operational consequences. The minister also warned of the wider implications of rejecting the deal. Without an agreement, Mauritius could implement legally binding legislation restricting Britain's ability to patrol the waters surrounding the islands. This could have severe consequences for operational security. Compromised military operations. The ability to use Diego Garcia for key intelligence and counter-hostile activities could be significantly hindered. Loss of key communication channels. Control over crucial frequencies could be eroded, impacting UK and US military coordination. Increased costs and declining investment. A weakened presence could lead to higher operational costs and diminished investment in the region. Without a deal, we would face serious real-world operational impacts on the base, Dowdy concluded. It would erode our ability to operate key frequencies, vital for our own communication and to counter hostile states, and affect everything, from overflight clearances to securing contractors with consequential rocketing costs, declining investment, and a degraded facility. Conclusion. The Chagos Islands deal remains a contentious issue, with national security at the heart of the debate. While the UK seeks to maintain strategic control over Diego Garcia, the looming threat of adversaries establishing a presence in the region adds urgency to finalizing the agreement. Whether the deal will proceed or face further opposition remains to be seen, but the consequences of failure could be significant, both politically and militarily. Tories take aim at Labour for voting against $300 energy bills promise. Sir Keir Starmer promised before the election to slash Britain's energy bills by $300 by 2030. Labour has been slammed for voting against their own target of reducing household energy bills by $300 in real terms by 2030. Peers in the House of Lords voted 121 to 131 against including the reduction of household energy bills by $300 in real terms by 1st January 2030, in the Great British Energy Bill's Statement of Strategic Priorities on Tuesday night. Shadow Energy Secretary Andrew Bowie. This is astounding. Labour centred their whole energy policy plans around their promise to deliver the British public $300 off their energy bills, and once again they voted against exactly that. It is clear Ed Miliband is more concerned with pursuing his eco-zealot ideological agenda than delivering cheap and secure energy for this country. The Prime Minister said last week that the $300 figure is what we are driving towards, and his plan to build more nuclear reactors will help. Asked if he stuck by the commitment, Sir Keir Starmer said, "Yeah, that is our aim. That's what we're driving towards." He added, "We said we'd aim for $300, up to $300. That's what I want to achieve." In opposition and now in power, Labour has claimed that its plans for net zero, including the creation of a publicly owned clean energy company, GB Energy, will lower bills. Before the election, Keir Starmer said that his policies would help families save up to $300 off their energy bills. The claimed savings would kick in from 2030. But this number was missing from the official announcement of the GB energy plans on 25 July. The pledge, made repeatedly during the general election campaign, was more recently called into question after the boss of Labour's GB Energy, Jürgen Meyer, called the Green Initiative a long-term project and refused to say when household prices would be slashed. Tories take aim at Labour for voting against $300 energy bills. Promise: a deep dive into the political implications introduction. Labour's decision to vote against its own pre-election pledge to cut household energy bills by $300 by 2030 has sparked a political firestorm, with peers in the House of Lords rejecting an amendment to enshrine this target in the Great British Energy Bill's Statement of Strategic Priorities. The move has led to sharp criticism from the Conservative Party. The backlash raises serious questions about Labour's credibility, the feasibility of their energy policies, and the long-term political repercussions. This article explores the broader implications of Labour's vote, the motivations behind it, and the challenges it presents for Sir Keir Starmer's government. The political fallout Labour's opposition to the very policy it championed before the general election has provided the Conservatives with ample ammunition to challenge its consistency and trustworthiness. Shadow Energy Secretary Andrew Bowie described the decision as astounding, arguing that Labour's priorities lie in ideological environmental goals rather than practical cost reductions for British households. Prime Minister Rishi Sunak reinforced this sentiment by emphasizing that the 300 reduction remains an achievable target under his government's strategy. This apparent U-turn has created a perception of Labour's inconsistency, potentially undermining Starmer's leadership and the party's economic credibility. Having campaigned heavily on energy affordability, Labour now faces accusations of failing to uphold its commitments. Labour's justification: a strategic shift or political misstep. Labour has defended its decision, arguing that the rejected amendment was unnecessary because the 300 target remains a long-term aspiration rather than a legislative guarantee. The government has pointed to its broader strategy, including the launch of GB Energy, a publicly owned clean energy company aimed at fostering renewable investment and reducing energy costs over time. However, critics argue that Labour's language has shifted subtly since the election. While pre-election messaging suggested direct savings for consumers, the rhetoric post-election has framed these reductions as a gradual outcome of structural energy reforms. This shift has fueled skepticism about the feasibility and timeline of the $300 target. The economic and energy policy challenge. One of the biggest challenges Labour faces is the practical implementation of its energy affordability agenda. The energy sector is complex, influenced by global market fluctuations, supply chain constraints, and long-term infrastructure investments. Labour's clean energy strategy, centered on GB energy and accelerated renewables, aims to drive down costs in the long run. However, the effectiveness of these measures depends on significant initial investments, policy stability, and technological advancements. The refusal to enshrine the $300 target into law may reflect Labour's recognition of economic uncertainties and the difficulty of making firm financial commitments this early in its term. Public perception and trust issues. Labour's perceived backtracking could have significant electoral consequences. Voters who supported the party based on economic relief promises may feel misled, particularly as the cost of living crisis continues. Political opponents will likely use this as evidence that Labour cannot be trusted to deliver on major pledges. Starmer's leadership has focused on presenting Labour as a stable, pragmatic alternative to the Conservatives. This incident, however, risks reinforcing doubts about the party's ability to follow through on its commitments. Restoring trust will require clear communication, transparency about policy timelines, and tangible steps to demonstrate progress. On energy affordability. The Conservative strategy, capitalizing on Labour's misstep. The Conservative Party has seized this opportunity to discredit Labour's energy agenda, By positioning themselves as the party of pragmatic energy policy, the Tories can appeal to voters concerned about both affordability and energy security. Rishi Sunak's emphasis on nuclear expansion as a reliable path to lower energy costs stands in contrast to Labour's renewable-heavy approach, offering a competing vision that may resonate with segments of the electorate. Moreover, this controversy strengthens conservative attacks on Labour's economic competence. By framing Labour as a party that makes lofty promises but fails to deliver, the Tories aim to undermine Starmer's credibility ahead of future elections. So what do you guys think about this update? Let me know in the comment below. If you like my video, please press like button and subscribe for more. Hope I'll see you in next video.